Who is this
Brett,
fella?
Blurry.
Why is Brett all blurry? You got to clean the lens.
Tammy?
Are you in a? Maybe you're in a sauna.
Kleenex, please.
Welcome to Free Castin, the well-scripted show that we never go down rabbit holes on.
There you are.
There I am.
Oh man, breathing heavy. Where are you breathing heavy at?
I'm in an undisclosed location.
That's the best place to be.
Mission.
I knew it. I knew he was undercover game warden.
Look at there. There's Louis.
I've been in that interrogation room right there.
Well,
how are you doing, Mr. Britt?
I'm doing pretty good today.
Bone Pile's already blown up the comments 2 hours before we got on.
Oh, cool.
Blown him up. You need to do Bonehead a favor and silence him from chat before it ever starts. Aha, happy dude. Dog treat new species. And he got another walk-in shower job, but he off work early and hammering beers. We would have never guessed.
Never in a million years.
He gonna be shit for shape when your shows start. To guarantee that new species groundhog in tree. Haven't seen that in 25 years. Still need a skunk, a caught hog, a bobcat to be done with Grand Slam. Grand Slam Trasher.
As long as they climb, it's okay.
Bone Pile, send me your address. I'm going to get a little trophy made up that says Grand Slam Trasher.
Let me see if I can.
There's a lot. But he did apologize already.
That's better, isn't it?
You look good. It's fine now. Brett was watching Pornhub. Need a Kleenex? Oh, Anderson. That's your buddy, Anderson.
At my age, you don't need one.
Geez, here we go with Bone. Anyways, how's it going, Brett? Oh, shit. Even got good. Sonny Tapia. Even Sonny Tapia.
Hey,
I messaged old Brett. He didn't answer me.
Uh-oh. Where'd you message?
I told him not to. I said, if you ever get a message from a Sonny Tapia, block it and delete it as fast as you can.
Right? Right? How you doing, Brett?
I'm doing good.
I introduced a buddy of mine to your podcast, and to your Born 100 Years Too Late, and he spent 3 days watching it every day.
Well, good.
Now this guy thinks he's a mule trainer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I'm after that last sale, I'm decided I might sell my mules.
Woo! I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I forgot. That's a rabbit hole in itself. $100,000.
What, $90,000, $100,000 for a mule?
$100,000 mule. So the only way a mule's worth $100,000 to me is if I won the $100 million Powerball, and I came home with $50 million of it, and my buddy won the Powerball, and we went there just to see who could bid it higher for fun. It's crazy.
You know what bothers me is they don't disclose who bought the mule.
Could be bogus.
You know,
those promotion sales.
We talked about it before last year when that was it $90,000 mule went through. You know, and even me and Brett got in some discussion about that $20,000 dog or $17,000. You know, because we're like, holy crap. But a dog, you'll be able to train other dogs with that dog. And if that dog lives another 5 years and you train 10 dogs with that $20,000 dog, then you just made $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 dogs. But what do you train with? What do you do with a $100,000 mule?
Look at it.
Maybe just
ride it.
Tell everybody
Put
about
your wife on it.
mule.
Have the money for security.
Hey, Chris, there's a lot of people in this world that have a lot more money than you and I.
No, that's 100% true. And I man,
you take out insurance on it and hope like hell it dies.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm coming into this late, but you know what? If the guy's got the money and he can do it, good for him. And the people that put in the time to train that mule to be able to sell it for that, good for them. People should congratulate them instead of bitch about it.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
a
gonna bitch about it.
$100,000 mule.
I'm gonna flat ass bitch about it.
Which is
I
your
don't even like
opinion,
paying
but
$100,000 for
Well, it's not an
truck.
opinion. I mean, we use our mules for a tool, and if the,
Well, what's
just
to
like
say
road-
that they
just like-
don't?
I don't care. Just like
Well,
roping
I don't
horses.
either.
I mean, I can't afford to buy a heel horse now because they've promoted them and brought them up so high that a lot of people can't afford to buy them.
I
That's
agree,
just like
but
with
I'm
anything.
saying,
that's happening everywhere though. Horses,
what I'm
dogs,
saying is,
trucks.
I agree.
I mean, what? It's not a cutting
Hunting.
mule, was it? It was a.
No,
it was just-
it's
you know what I
just a-
mean? Like,
No,
a
it's
cutting horse?
just a flat broke, nice mule that's flashy looking, you know.
Jeremiah
But-
Flaw said it went to Baton Rouge.
And what it could be is a guy that makes a lot of money doing something else and needed something straight, secure, and pretty for his wife to ride.
Hey.
And he had the money to
You
do
know,
it.
what bothers me is it takes more than one person to
Mhm.
bid a mule up that high. So that means there was another person that was willing to pay almost that much money for that mule.
Well, yeah, exactly right. And
all
it
I'm
is.
saying,
And
this
whether
is what I'm saying. I'm broke and I'm a little jealous that they can afford $100,000 mule.
Maybe that's my problem.
Well,
you know,
and it's no different than the horses, hounds, and mules sell when guys pay $20,000 for a dog. I can't afford
Well,
a
that's right.
$20,000 dog either.
well, no,
I
that's
know-
what we talked
I
about
know a guy
last
that
year.
bought. I know a guy personally that bought two of them.
Yeah, but none of us on here are going to pay that.
You know how long? You know how long? You know how long they lasted? They got knocked off a bluff 2 months into it.
And
I heard
that's livestock. Anything. You could buy anything, and the next day you could find it dead in your corral or in your kennel.
I guarantee you there's insurance on that.
No, there is.
Oh,
Well,
very
this guy
possible.
didn't have it.
You know, there's no reason for it. But it would be, I'm not going to say it on here. I say, I mean, there's ways to make money off of them. But a dog, you can train other dogs with.
Yeah. You can, for sure. Mules are a little harder. I mean, you look at the horse world and all that. I mean, there's horses that go for multiple hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, but sometimes, depending on what it is, you can breed it, collect semen, get colts from it. That's a little different than a mule.
That's what I'm saying. Like a
But-
mule is, you have a lot of walls up where you can't breed it.
It's just like a papered gelding.
Yep,
I don't.
exactly.
It is. It is.
You can if you get a paper gelding, you can go out and win a lot of money on one. I know because I have.
Yeah.
And maybe
But-
the guy will make $100,000.
It depends. That $100,000 mule could have saved him in taxes.
Yep.
That's
You
that
know,
too.
That's a
Agriculture.
fact, I guess.
You know,
Yeah.
could be a write-off, could be whatever. You know,
He's
is what
got
it is.
7 alpacas in Louisiana that he needs to catch every now and then in doctors, so he bought that mule. You know,
Whatever it
Yeah.
was, he had the money to
Anderson.
do it.
Mules
Anderson's.
are on the trending thing as far as upwards and people loving them and being cool and being part of, instead of just a hidden part of society, they're starting to be more of an upfront part of it.
and I've been on the mule pages quite a bit lately, and nothing against mules when I say this, but everyone comments mules will keep itself and the rider alive.
Yep. In
For-
shitty country, there's
Yeah.
a difference for sure. There's
There
a
is.
reason.
You're
a
gonna get a booger of one too. You could get a booger of one where something happened. It's still a livestock animal. It's still got a little bit of a horse brain.
I have
Or
a
it'll
few.
swat and it'll brush you off or take off and brush you off. But they
I got
think
2 or 3
they
of those.
think instantly because they bought a mule that nothing bad's gonna happen now.
I have a couple of them mules that I wouldn't sell. I mean, I ain't saying they're $100,000 mules, but to me they're pretty priceless.
Yeah,
Well,
but if they offered you
they're worth their-
$100,000, would you take it?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Be a fool
honestly,
not to.
if I made millions a year and I could not bat an
Oh.
eye at dropping $100,000 on a nice, pretty mule,
I think it would take you
Sure.
a while because you don't have the money now. So when you
No,
get money, you would
very
probably still
different.
try to talk them down to $60,000.
Well, it's like Brett. I was watching. I don't know if I was listening to, or it was something to do with an interview with something to do. Brett was talking when the guy told you to get a mule instead of a horse, but he said make sure you get a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember who told you that, Brett.
I was a rancher, Mr. Hyatt, up there. I was
Yeah,
I was riding a real nice little 3-year-old gelding, and he was worth quite a bit of money. And I was way up there in those volcanic rocks. He was watching me pick my way through there. And when I was on his ranch, and when I came back down, that's what he told me.
Yeah, and so like I was like you. I grew up riding lots of horses, was around the cutting world my whole childhood, like big time cutting. Had my family, not my dad, but you know, uncles and that had huge studs in the cutting world, and I was around all those fancy horses and rode a few of them in the mountains. And the minute I rode a mule in the mountains versus a horse, it was a whole different world. You know, but there are some great mountain horses. I think that gelding Jared has is gonna be there. He's a nice gelding for being a horse, but
Yeah.
you can definitely see a little bit of difference with the mules and him in some certain country.
When we rode, what was it, 4 days straight?
Yep.
You beat me back to the trailer that day by like 700 yards, half mile.
Yeah.
He was done. He was just cooked.
Yeah, but I mean he was young, but still, I mean mules have a great purpose and a great place in life, and for certain people, it's all on what they're worth to that person.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Just like our dogs. My brother would die if I told him I sold a dog for $10,000. You know, to him a dog's just a dog, but a horse is worth a lot of money in his world, and a dog ain't worth a lot. It's all in what you use and what you do with it.
It's like a trend or a name too, because a cutting horse, when you think of cutting horses, there's big money. Roping horses, big money. Barrel horses, there's barrel horses that go for money. Then you think of a mountain horse, that's just some old Mustang you got off BLM, and you're lucky you don't kill you.
I just saw this ranch horse in Arizona go for like $2,200. He was 8 years old, been ranched on since he was 3.
Yeah.
Like, I was not gonna lie. I told Sarah, I texted Sarah what he went for, and I sent her some videos, and she chewed my ass for not buying them.
Yeah. But like you say, it's all in the place that they get sold and the kind of people that get brought into that sale. And
I just have one question for Brett. Would you put a shock collar on that horse's britchins to get it to go?
You did a mule.
Yeah. Nah, that's a lot of money. For us poor folk, you look at it and you're like, holy, but you're right. You probably wrote it off. Why give the government $100,000?
That's the thing. To that guy, buying $100,000 mule might be like us buying a $2,000 saddle or something we need. You know, in his world, that amount of money was minuscule compared to what we think of it as. That's what's hard. We just don't understand that world because we're not part of it.
And then also, it's okay if the guy bought the mule for him, right? But if they're doing it to run it up and it never changed hands, that's where I kind of have the problem with it.
Well, when they don't disclose,
I'm not saying it did.
Why don't they disclose the person who bought it? Say congratulations to so and so for purchase of a great mule. You don't hear that. You hear about
that could be at the buyer's discretion too.
No, they don't disclose any of them that I've seen. And
I know everyone that I know everyone that puts on that sale too. So good,
proud of you.
Anyway, just a stupid $100,000 mule. We don't care about $100,000 mule. I'll
Let's put it
sell.
this way.
Dude.
I could go buy a really nice mule for a lot less money.
I
Oh,
just
yeah.
bought 4 mules for $5,000.
Hey
Yeah.
Brett, if you were to sell your mules, you know that your good mules, what would you ask for them?
Oh, I'd ask a lot more money for them right now.
Right?
That's for sure.
Well,
You
some
got
of
some
those
nice
mules,
mules.
I've got lots of documentation on, riding my mules and what they can do and where they can go and how gentle they are. I mean, I have to ride a pretty gentle mule.
Right.
And I think a lot of people miss the point on why you ride a mule besides being sure-footed and taking care of themselves. Mules are just plain tough. I mean, day in and day out, they're tough. And somebody pay $100,000 for a mule that is going to put it in their backyard and ride it every Sunday afternoon. I don't know. It just seems crazy to me. And for me, I would like to know whoever. I mean, they take online bids, don't they?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just like to know who paid that much money for a mule.
And
I'd like to know the buyers.
the rest of them didn't go for $5,000. There was some that went for what, 40 grand, 18 grand,
I
20
think
something
the
grand.
top,
The average
top
for the
10.
sale was $16,000 per mule.
Yeah.
That was the average.
Hmm.
And another mule sold for, I think, $68,000. What I read.
top
Keep it
5
close.
average was
Keep
the
that
top
close.
5 average was 68,000 or 69,000.
That was the second highest mule.
68.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah. So
Of course,
do
the
they
one
have?
last year was $70,000? And I'll tell you something, Dustin, that I have against those people that put on the sale is I contacted them last year, and I was curious, just how, I wanted to know, and they blocked me. They blocked me from asking questions.
I don't know.
For the answer, they should have just said, that's the way it is, or blah blah blah. At least entertained me a little bit.
Well, that's
So
what
if you
this
know them
show's
that
for.
well, tell them.
Yeah. Well, either way, none of us would buy $100,000 mule anyway.
No.
So, anyways, I guess we could talk about what we're supposed to talk about this time and keep it scripted.
Hold up. I got a question for Brett since he deals
Yeah.
with snake bites. I got a dog he got bit. What was it, Dustin? Monday?
3 days ago.
Tuesday, I think. Monday or
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Monday. I don't know. Was I hunting that
Monday
day or
or
not?
Tuesday. And his
No, it was
swelling's
Monday.
just starting to go down.
In the
But I
face.
still got to force water down him. Not force it. He'll take it, but he won't drink it out of a bowl or nothing.
But he got bit in the face, correct?
Yeah, twice. I didn't
Twice.
see. He got bit. He got bit right here, and then he got bit right here.
How'd you doctor him?
Well, I didn't have any Dex, so just Benadryl and amoxicillin capsules.
I try to carry, when the snakes are out, I try to carry Dex, 3 cc's in the muscle, 3 cc's under the skin, and 3 cc's under the skin for 3 days. That's easy to remember. That's what I usually do. If they get bit in the face, usually in a day and a half, they might lose some flesh right there where they're bit. But I think every single one of my dogs bit. And I had an old female that got bit, and she's the only one who died. But she was bit in the leg also. And she was already 12 years old.
Yeah, my buddy had one get bit in the leg, and she died, but it took months. But she swelled up. Her whole armpit was a balloon, and he ended up cutting flesh off of her for a month.
Yeah.
But he got hit twice in the face. The first one, he ran into it, jumped back, and then he got pissed because he got bit, and then he got bit again.
Probably one of them was probably a dry
bite.
I think one could have been. I thought so. This is a weird part. I thought he was just a dry bite because it took us an hour and a half to get back to the truck, and he was hardly swelling up. We got back to the house that night. That one side swelled up a little bit, and that was it. The next day, it swelled up a little bit more.
Oh,
And then by that night, he this like 50, 60 hours into the bite, he really started swelling up.
Was it a
And I don't know if
diamondback?
that's from, huh?
Was it a diamondback?
Yeah. Yep.
I bet you it was mostly dry bite, and you got a little bit of venom on that second one.
Well, they carry bacteria in their mouth too.
Yeah,
Yep.
because usually don't it swell up right away?
Seems
Like
like,
right
yeah.
away?
Pretty
I
quick.
mean, within a few hours, they swell up bad.
But he didn't swell up terrible. Like my one dog that got bit before this, by the time I got him back to the truck, his head was a basketball. But the swelling went away in a day and a half. Like that. And I didn't even have any antibiotics. I just gave him Benadryl and hope for the best. But he was also 20 pounds heavier. This is a 40-pound male compared to a 60-pound male.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that
So-
makes a difference.
It might just be the
But-
wound itself
I would
that's
think anyway.
swelling.
Yeah, because he's got about a bare spot where the one bite is about that big around, where it looks like the skin's dead. And then where the other bite is, it looks like it's just rubbed raw almost. But the skin's not dead.
Is he itching it?
The hair's gone. I don't know. It don't look like it.
Is it black?
He's a black and tan, so everything underneath his skin's black.
I don't think he got hit real hard.
I don't
I
think
bet-
so. But I'm just getting worried because he'll drink a little bit. He's pissing pretty hot yellow right now. Still, but he won't drink. If I give it to him through a syringe in his mouth, he'll take water easy. But he won't drop his head into a bowl.
Make you up some electrolytes and give to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
time of year, I need to get the vet back on for snake bites. I think it's going to be a bad year. You're going to be looking for water and moving around quite a bit.
Yep. That's the first rattlesnake I've seen this year.
I've seen 3.
I've had more dogs get bit by Gila monsters than rattlesnakes this year.
How do they react to that?
Mine didn't do nothing to him. The blood clotting was weird. So she got bit in the lip, and she had a blood clot off the top of her lip dragging like 4 or 5 inches down, just a clot all the way down. And we got her back and gave her some amoxicillin, and shit, I hunted her 3 days later. She was tender in that mouth though, because they got them teeth that rip. She was tender in that mouth, but just the blood clotting was super weird. It just kept getting longer and longer and longer. Then it'd break off, and when it broke off, it'd start bleeding again and start clotting up again real bad.
And is it true that the Gila monster that they don't have fangs, but they grind that poison in? Is that true?
The Gila monsters I've gotten bit this year. They didn't grip the dog, or the dog whipped it off really fast. I don't know.
We
I'll
don't
look it
have
up.
them here. I don't know anything about them.
Oh, yeah. I've seen 4 this year.
Yes, the Gila monster inject venom by biting down and vigorously chewing, rather than using hollow pressurized fangs like snakes. They have venom glands in their lower jaw, and the venom flows along grooved teeth via capillary action, requiring them to latch on and chew for several minutes to deliver a significant dose. So probably they just didn't get enough in it. He probably ground and shook it off. I heard it's hard to get bit by a Gila monster, and if you do, you're kind of retarded.
Stupid.
Yeah.
That's just what I heard. And I've only been bit 4 times, so I know what they're talking about. So anyway, what else you got for us?
Nothing.
$100,000 mules, snake bites, Gila monster bite. I asked my Navajo friend. I said, "Hey, what does it mean when there's a lot of Gila monsters out? And he says, well, where are you seeing them? I said, everywhere. He says, it means it's breeding season. I was waiting for some Navajo. We're going to get lots of rain, or, you know, the apocalypse is coming. And he says, that's because it's breeding season. I'm like, damn, man.
I tell you what's bad at my place is I've killed 5 rattlesnakes in my dog kennels. Of course, you feed dog food, and then
Mice.
the mice come for the dog food. Then the rattlesnakes come for the mice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, when you walk through there, you always keep your eyes peeled. And I got a little behind my kennels. I got a little breezeway, and I killed 3 in the breezeway, and then I've killed 2 underneath the dog houses.
That's no good when you're feeding at night or early morning either, if you have to.
No.
Because they'll curl up.
I stepped over a rattlesnake in April. I didn't know it was there. Me and my buddy were hunting early in the morning, right before the sun came up, right at dusk there or whatever, and 100 yards out of the truck. I'm not paying attention or walking in a sand wash. And I'm watching the dogs work in front, and I step over it, and all of a sudden he pretty much runs me over, starts yelling snake, and I'm like, where? And yeah, I walked right over the top of it. Must have been cold enough where it didn't do nothing, but
They did a study where they took a fake leg and stepped on 100 rattlesnakes out in the hills, and there was only like 3 strikes out of those 100.
I tell you what, it seems like the rattlesnakes they don't rattle until it's like the last minute. But on the ranch where I was raised, those prairie rattlers, I tell you what, now they're aggressive. They let you know they're there, and then they're not. I mean, they get after you.
See, ours don't rattle unless you're messing with them.
I've been chased by one of them little sidewinder suckers, the little ones, and they're fast.
They say they're aggressive.
They are aggressive. They'll chase you. They'll chase you.
That's a prairie rattler, man. They'll stand up like that and just threaten you.
Yep.
I killed about a 4-foot rattlesnake that was in the top of a mesquite tree. Now, why he was up there, unless he was looking for eggs in a nest or something.
Haven't you watched that movie The Missing, where he says he hangs them in the trees because they're not supposed to belong there? Movie The Missing with Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm sure I've seen it. I don't remember, which is nothing new.
We were out hunting the other night, and we were trying to catch dogs. And Faye's dog was 2 miles from us, and I just happened to walk over to the corner, and there's a snake up there about 8 foot in the tree. He's like, the heck with this.
What kind was it?
Too many snakes in your country.
It was just a rat snake.
Oh.
Do you got a lot of rattlesnakes, Jeremy?
Yes, sir. Not generally where I'm at. Yeah, we got cottonmouths, water moccasins, and they're the same thing. Copperheads, water moccasins, and canebrakes.
How have you had any dogs bit by water moccasins or?
That and copperheads is the most common.
Are they aggressive?
The copperheads are the worst.
Just like the bite?
Yeah, the cottonmouth, though, it's a bad bite if they get
But
bit by cottonmouth.
Yeah, but they don't dry bite, correct? One of those don't dry bite, period. When they bite, they inject venom.
And they're going to rot. And it's just, you just treat the symptoms is basically all you can do for them.
Hopefully they heal up.
Yeah. You'll have to give them Dex for 2 weeks to keep, just keep it from sloughing off so fast.
And then is it true that you don't have to I was talking to a line hunting buddy of mine, and he keeps Dex in his saddlebags because he says Dex is the only antibiotics you don't need to freeze.
Well, it's a steroid.
True? Yeah, okay.
I thought you had to keep it cold.
No,
not Dex.
I'm sure you don't want it hot as hell, but
I don't use it as often because my vet told me you had to lay them up for a week afterwards, but that don't seem to be a problem here lately. Mine been laid up for a while.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared's in your state over there, right? He's a New Mexican now.
No.
Where are you
For a little
located,
bit.
Jared?
I'm out in Animus at Kyle's place right now.
What's funny is you're from Arizona. He's from New Mexico, and he's in Arizona, and you're in New Mexico.
Hey, I go back to Arizona in June.
You go back to Arizona when your sugar mama comes to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told Dustin, I said him and Kyle need to brand Jared one on each cheek. He stays with them so much that they own part of him.
Shoot.
Yep.
Hey, Jared, did you know any lion hunters that came over here by Cook's Peak not too long ago try to catch a lion?
Where's Cook's Peak? What mountain range is that?
That's the southern end of what I would call the Gila, very southern end. It's they call it Cook's Mountain Range too.
They're from New Mexico?
No, yeah, they were from Animus. I can't remember the name right now.
Craig Cole?
Might have been. I can't remember.
Craig Cole.
A rancher called me, had a picture on one of his game cameras at a water and had a lion go through there. And he called me, and I mean, because of my condition, I couldn't go. And he said, and he called me back and said he had a guy from Animus going up there. I never heard the stories, so I don't think they caught the lion.
Could have been Kyle. I don't know. There's a young kid out here too, I think, that's got some dogs.
Is he a cowboy kid?
I think so. I don't know if there's a whole lot else to do in Animus.
Not many other ways to make a living.
No.
Well, that's a good segue to the modern houndsman. What we're supposed to be talking about tonight. Supposed to be. So what do you think? What do you think about the newer age houndsman? I don't know if I want to ask Brett.
Well, let me tell you.
Let's start with Brett first. I mean, you got with the modern houndsman, you got social media, you got technology. That's a big difference between even 20 years ago.
Well, I think because they're all so smart now that it's just hard for us old guys.
Yeah.
They know it all. They know it all, so we just don't say anything anymore.
Mm-hmm. And then me and Dustin were talking about it today about technology, and we'll start with the GPS, right? And when you see a track and your dogs are out, you can turn them around. When it's hot, you can get them back. In the old days, you had to follow them, and hopefully you had some water or knew where their water was. So did that make? This is what we're trying to figure out today. Does it make a houndsman better for the technology, and does that make the dogs better, or does it hurt one or the other?
Helps the houndsman, hurts the dogs.
You think it hurts the dogs though to turn them around on a track?
Not that part. That part, no. But how many times have you seen a dog nowadays get lost?
Listen, I save more money spending $5,000 on a tracking system than I did in fuel, driving around till 3 a.m. trying to find dogs.
But dogs, like you talked to the old timers back in the day, them dogs that get lost, they trail themselves out.
That's the first thing when I first got my GPS, I remember Luke went out and he got way out, and I watched him on my GPS trail himself right back up on that trail he walked.
Yep.
It's kind of the coolest thing you learn a dog.
Some dogs still do it,
They do it.
But some dogs will, they'll just
They just
get
go.
lost. They'll get lost, and all of a sudden you're looking at the handheld and like, where the F are you going?
I think those back in the old days, those old ones that got lost,
They misunderstood.
they didn't last very long. They never got to reproduce.
Yep. But
I just remember reading that book, Trained by a Hound, where I think it was that one where he went out and he was 9 miles out and it got dark and he just camped out, froze his ass off.
Yeah, I think he got
You know.
frostbite on his feet.
But you didn't, these days we got cell phones, we got GPS, you mark the truck. A lot of these new houndsmen, these modern houndsmen, could they even stay overnight? Do they got a lighter in their pocket?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're smart enough, like when I hunted even now, I always carry 3 road flares in my backpack. Doesn't matter if it's wet out. That tree's gonna
Carry
start
that
on
with
fire.
no water.
That's a good idea.
Speaking about modern day houndsmen, now I got a dang Starlink Mini. Talk about always have service.
Mhm.
I got one of those
I just
also.
ordered one. I
That's
just
the way to
traded my
go.
big one in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
shoot,
got
guys
one
don't
now,
even use
too.
radios anymore to get a hold of each other on the mountain.
No.
I have them. We all have them. We all have them in our pack, and we have them in our trucks. But most of the time now, your GPS hooks up to each other, so you can watch them anyway.
Well,
And
if you
you
have
can
an
text on
iPhone, you can send a satellite text.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, I haven't been able to get mine to work. I've tried.
That's the only way. That's the only way I could communicate with Jared when we were down in Patagonia.
Yep.
I carry a Garmin InReach now, one of those little ones,
Mm-hmm.
and it works real good. And then it also sends your coordinates of where you're at. So, I mean, if something happens to me,
You got a Starlink, Brett?
Yeah,
Starlink
I do.
Mini? Do you
He's a
pack it on?
YouTuber.
Do you pack it on your mule?
Not yet.
Well, I got one of those. I got a battery pack that'll last for 5 hours.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I haven't even used mine. What I did is we had regular internet with a little dish at the house, and then in my office I didn't have internet, so I bought Starlink for that. And then they came out with this new deal where if you bought a new Starlink and get the unlimited data, they would send you a free mini Starlink.
Oh.
So I got a deal. I got it at the house, and then I can beam that internet signal to the main house from my office. So then I got a mini Starlink too, but I've never used it yet. I haven't been able to get out. So
it's a ticket.
It's
the ticket.
Good.
Yeah.
We just used
That's what
it.
I've heard.
We went to the Hound trials this weekend. We used it to watch the fight. We brought TV and everything, and usually we're pretty archaic
What's he
campers.
talking to?
I didn't want to miss I didn't want to miss the fight.
How great was that?
It wasn't a bad fight. Of course, it wasn't a stand-up brawl.
I don't know.
but
I'm just watching Chris's mouth move.
You got to restart. He can hear you guys. Tell him to restart. He's on a phone, and sometimes the phone cuts it out. He might not hear none of us.
Don't text him.
Turn your.
There you go.
can
Hey,
you
how's
hear
that
me?
little Casey Fair dog doing for undercover there?
Nice. Right now, she's just sitting in a pen. I hadn't been. It's been raining.
Yeah.
Dude, mine's doing really good all of a sudden.
Rain. What's that?
Right?
Yeah, this is the first dry week we've had in 3 weeks.
Hell, it rained here yesterday.
And it's supposed to rain
over there?
all next week.
Yeah. Rained here yesterday.
I didn't get no rain over here.
It didn't?
We're only 30 miles away from each other.
I know.
So the question is, do modern tools make better dogs or weaker houndsmen?
I think it makes better everything.
I bet it. I would disagree a little bit. It might make weaker houndsmen, but I think I agree with the better dogs. I mean, it's a lot easier.
You think they
a lot
rely?
easier if you stop them from doing the wrong thing.
You think
This
they
is
rely?
what this
so much
is
on it?
why I think that it makes a better houndsman. And as far as probably not as far as learning on your own, but like in New Mexico, you can put a camera on a scratch, and you'll know how often that lion will come through that scratch. So that'll make you a better I want like better as far as productive, I guess.
Yeah, be able to
Yeah.
read how old the track and everything, what your dogs can do and what they can't do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Something like that. Arizona, you can't do that.
No.
Used to could, but not now. But New Mexico, you definitely can.
What?
No,
You're not supposed to do
I
that?
agree with that. I think that makes sense.
Then say I've seen a bunch of cell cameras out in Arizona.
No, I ain't
those
saying
are
people
bird
ain't got them.
Those are
The
Jared's. We'll talk about it.
Just
Yeah.
about every water hole you got out there's got 4 or 5 on it.
Well,
those guys are cell camera picture guys.
Yeah,
They're not.
ranchers,
Yeah.
ranchers can still
yeah.
use
That
them.
bow blind sitting right beside it.
Well, cameras
I have
aren't
nothing to do.
illegal to use. They're just illegal to
Like
use.
there's ranchers out there that'll use
Take
During
an
them.
hunting. Yeah.
Is
You're
there any way they can
checking
enforce
calves.
that?
It's tough to enforce it, but it's been enforced.
Run it
There's
back to
been
your
people-
phone number.
There's been people that, especially cell camera, they'll get it. But there's
But-
been people caught in.
I know
in-
some ranchers that use cell phone cameras, especially a lot during calving season.
Yeah. So do I.
They'll have a calf come in, a mama cow and a calf come in without an ear tag, and
What's the name
I
of that
know.
guy? What's the name of that guy that gets all that good footage on sound?
Jason Miller.
Yeah, that guy.
He didn't
said
even
he pretty
buy-
much. He said he quit hunting because of that, but he's got some cool footage.
I
Yeah,
don't think
that
he even
Jason
had
Miller.
a hunting license.
Yeah, Jason Miller.
I think
Mhm.
that's his last name.
Jason
Yeah.
Miller Outdoors is what it's called on
Yep.
YouTube.
He got a jaguar and an ocelot on his trail camera.
Yeah.
Just posted a picture where he
Yep.
walked under the tree, turned around 2 minutes later, and was walking
I've
back.
talked to him on the phone a couple times. He's a pretty
Can you not
cool
hear
guy.
me?
He hunts.
I
He
can
hunts
hear
that
you.
same or doesn't hunt anymore. He sets show cameras in that same country I'm in.
Can you hear me, Jared?
He's a nice guy.
No. Tell Jared to restart his phone.
Chris,
Restart
can you
your
hear us?
phone.
Can you hear me, Jared?
I can hear you. I just see Chris moving his mouth and nothing
He needs
happening.
to restart his phone because he
Chris
won't be able
says
to
you
hear
need
me.
to restart your phone.
I don't know why it does it. It just does
Jeremy, I have to restart my phone.
Yes.
Okay.
it. For some
I guess
reason,
he
those
couldn't hear
iPhones,
me.
He couldn't hear
Well-
me either.
it just does weird stuff. I don't know why it does it. It just cuts off the sound, so you have to restart your phone, and you'll hear it. So, I
was talking to Wade, the guy with the Holdcraft, and he was telling me about a new tracking system that actually I'm buying one, and
that E one or
I'm gonna try it out. Heck with it.
Buddy
and-
did a big study on that.
He
went out
told me
and
that
did-
he's been trying them for 3 months, and he
Yeah.
said that thing will give you. It'll. You can hear your dogs bark on it. You can do all kinds of shit on that thing that you can't do on a regular Garmin. So I'm gonna try it out. I told him I
Are
ordered
they
one.
real expensive?
They're $500 for the unit and a collar.
Well, that's
It's
cheaper
cheaper
than
than a
Garmin.
Garmin.
Yeah, and the collars are 150 a piece.
I'm gonna wait till everybody tries them and they work out the bugs.
I'm
Well, I
gonna
know-
try. I ordered one.
I know Buddy did some review on it.
Yeah, I know, but he told me that Buddy was full of it. But because there's a couple houndsmen out of Idaho that Wade is hooked up with that they've been testing it, and they've been testing it for 3 months, and they said they're way better than a Garmin. But there's some bugs that they need to work out on. They need to. So if I have, I can't give you a track code for you to track my dogs. It doesn't. And he's working with the people that build that to try to do that. And I sit there and had called him on the phone. We talked for an hour and a half about that system. And I said, order me one. And I'll let you know.
Do the collars have a pretty good battery life?
He said over a week.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So that's going to put Garmin's dick in the dirt.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And it's going to take a while. It'll take a couple of years for them to do that, to get it worked out. But I tell you what, if they keep the price down and they work even 80% as good as Garmin's, people will
He said that you can track them a lot longer than you can a Garmin also. I think he said another mile or two extra.
Huh.
Wow.
That's worth it right there.
Yeah, it is.
How many dogs can you control at one time?
I think he said 20. 20. So I mean, I'm excited to get it, and I'll let you know. You know, I mean, if you guys are on, you know, any of the pages, Hounds pages, and you see Wade, he'd talk to you till you're blue in the face about that system.
I'm hoping it does. I've always hoped someone would come out with a better system.
Yeah.
I really.
I wish they could tell me what my dogs are barking on.
Right.
A little icon.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. That's pretty easy,
rabbit.
Jared.
Yeah.
Monkeys.
Monkeys. Yeah.
Yep. So what about so on your modern houndsman, what about breeding for fame or breeding for performance? You think the newer guys are breeding for performance?
I think a lot of these newer guys are just buying high dollar dogs.
It's too easy to do that versus the other option.
Right. Because, I know a lot of guys, I used to hunt with a guy and he said, well, he would say, because he would buy some of these high dollar dogs. And I said, I ain't going to do it. And he says, well, your way of houndsman is a lot different than mine. And I said, it is. I said, because here's the thing that hound hunting to me is getting a newborn to do what you want him to do when he gets older. That's what it is to me. And to them, it's
with that.
And a lot of those guys are just about, pictures. Look what I caught. Look how many lions I caught or how many bears I caught, this, that, and the other. And that's what's because I told him, I said, because, you do catch, a lot of game, but you never made one of these dogs. But at the end of the day, you want every houndsman to know who you are. But if you didn't catch those, do you think that they would know who you are? No. And that, there's different people are different. Some people like that. Some people like to see a dog go from born to a tree dog to being what you want it to be. And not all dogs will make it, but that's what it's for me.
Well, I think Jared has talked about it, about a houndsman versus somebody who runs dogs.
Well, you buy one of those high expensive dogs. I haven't bought high expensive dogs, but I've bought 2 dogs in the last 3 years because I'm dog poor right now. I only got 7 dogs, but I bought 2 in the last 3 years, and talk about what them 2 do to pups.
Yeah,
and how much more they excel a dog.
For me,
they teach those young dogs 10 times faster. Like, I bought a dog out of West Texas, and he ended up buddying up to this dog that I got snake bit. And this is pretty cool. I went hunting with the guy, and he hunted with my 2 males, and he hunted with one of those $20,000 dogs that went for auction. And he said my 2 males that are 2.5 and 3 right now were hunted better than that $20,000 dog.
Yeah. So, me and Chris has talked about this a lot, but where I live, my dogs are never in a kennel when they're young. When they're born, they're never in a kennel until they're like 9 months. So I live, I got,
you're backed up to a mountain.
I'm backed up to a mountain. So those dogs get to learn how to trail and be persistent every day. And I mean, You heard them little pups outside a little while ago. Those are 4 months old pups, and they're trailing rabbits, they're trailing squirrels, but they're learning how to use their nose and they're learning how to be.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's the best thing that you can do for a dog, to be honest with you.
And
Not
I've never,
everybody,
It is.
not everybody has that.
If I'm gonna get coached to play a sport, do I want a high school coach or an NFL coach?
Right.
I've
Right.
never seen a Chihuahua pug cross do what his dogs do.
You know, it's just one of those deals. It's, you know, because if you say your best dog's a real nice dog, but he's babbly or he overruns tracks real bad, guess what he's going to train them young dogs to do?
They do the same.
Exactly.
Right. So
That's-
these dogs
that's where
every day is trailing something. And I mean,
Yep.
multiple times a day. They'll go trail and they'll be gone for 2 hours, and then they'll be back and they'll lay around the front yard and get water, and then they'll go back up and trail, and they do that multiple times a day. And that's what, I mean, I'm proud that they do that, because, you know, people are like, your dogs don't run off. I'm like, well, if you feed those dogs at your front porch from the time they were little, they'll never leave. They'll always come back.
Mhm.
And it's been awesome. You know, I mean, I've done that for 5 years, and I've made some pretty nice dogs.
Yep.
You know,
And that's what I do. I love letting them run. The guy that I got my original dogs from, he said the same thing. Let them run around the yard. Who cares if they chase a rabbit?
right? They're easy to
Oh,
shop.
your
They're
dog-
doing something.
They're
They're easy.
exactly right.
They're easy to break off of that game that you don't want them to hunt. Easy.
Well, that's what you got older dogs for. You drop them with
You
those
know-
older dogs. It reminds me of Mike Roots, right, Brett? When his dog took off and you said, "What's that dog doing?" I don't know, probably chasing a coyote.
Yeah, he didn't even pay any attention to him. We were just riding up through there, and one of his dogs took off bawling. I just kind of watched Mike. He said, and finally I asked him, what do you think that hound's doing? He's chasing a coyote. He'll be back in a little while.
Right.
It's his only. And we treed a lion about 4 hours later. And that dog was there at the tree.
Right.
And then he said, "Why am I chasing this coyote when everybody else is chasing a lion? Oh, look, we got a reward.
Mhm.
We're at the tree for a lion." So that dog's going to now mentally say, "Oh, man, this is a lot funner than chasing that
Well,
coyote by myself."
Those young dogs, they'll go off chasing deer, coyotes, whatever, but they'll notice no one's with them.
So what I've noticed with my dogs when they run free, because I got a bunch of elk and I got elk in my front yard. After they've chased them so long and they know that they can't catch them, but they'll just chase the hell out of them. Pretty soon they get to where I'm not even going to chase that thing, because the other day I walked out my front door and there was an elk in my grass, and those dogs were just sitting there on the porch looking at them. They never barked at them. They never did. So, I mean, I think that eventually, after a while, they figure out, I ain't going to catch that elk or whatever. I'm not even going to pay any attention to them anymore. So that's what I've learned anyways.
Absolutely.
So when do you start correcting them on that? Ever? Or
Yeah.
if you're just running
So
them,
whenever I start roading my dogs to, leg them up for whatever I'm hunting, I'll leg them up with my regular dogs, and we'll go down, and I want to go right through elk and all that stuff. And I want them to see squirrels, and I want them to see rabbits. So whenever you first start doing that, they're going to see a squirrel and they're going to take off after it. And you let them go for a little while, and then you bump them, and they turn around and come back, and it takes only 2 times, and they figure it out, and they just run right past the rabbits and the squirrels and the elk. They don't care.
so I
And
was
it's
go ahead.
I do it about when they're about 8 months old.
I was lucky living by a golf course, because I would go get them on a couple bear lion, and then I'd go back to the golf course and run them through that golf course at night when there's deer and elk. And
Right.
that's when I started breaking them off out there, when I knew there was going to be deer and elk and no bear or lion.
Right.
And then when you get back out, in the field, they'll start following the dogs. But
Right.
I've been lucky the last 8-9 years, because I had Dirty.
Right.
And that I'm Dirty's old now. And I said this last week, I think, and I know the other dogs will step up, but the 2 that I needed to step up that were stepping up are not with me no more. So I'm down to trashy dogs. A few trashy dogs and some young ones. So I'm hoping Dirty's good enough to run a trail and get them going, or rig and get them going.
Well, you know that it's always next man up. It just works that way. Crazy. You
And
know,
they,
because like
they
whenever I lost a really, really good bear dog, I'm like, oh shit, I'm screwed. And then the next hunt that I did, you know, I was like, man, where the hell did this come from? You know, and they took the lead, and they're my best dog. And that's just the way it always worked, I guess.
Yep. So you got these guys now, your younger guys buying these dogs. So now they're breeding these dogs. Do you think they're selling pups before they're kind of proven? Even
Yes.
just because they're parents?
100%.
I got a Howland dog, or I got a whoever dog.
Yeah.
They're using that name to sell the dog and not actual, because no matter even buying a great dog, it doesn't mean it's going to be a great dog for that person running it. Because
Right.
to me, I was talking to Dustin today, I said, it's really 50% hound, 50% handler. That's 100% what it should be, because a bad handler could ruin a good dog. You know, a bad dog can probably ruin a new handler.
Well, it goes the same. An inexperienced houndsman can breed shit that they shouldn't breed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just
You
use
know.
the name.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we've all, you know, there's those guys that get puppies from good guys that have good lines, and all of a sudden 2 years later they're breeding a 2-year-old male to a 1-year-old female that are unproven dogs because they have good lines and they want to sell puppies and make a name for themselves instead of proved dogs. And I don't.
And there's those people you don't know that don't have the name. And there's people. Well, look at Brett. Didn't you just have a dog collected?
Yeah, some outfitters that I don't want to drop any names that I sold. I mean, there's 3 of them. They make their living with their hounds, and I sold them pups. And then one of them bred to my own male dog, and they paid to have him collected. But that's what Sam Anderson was saying earlier. He's 14 years old and he was shooting blanks. So they paid for the pills to give him for 30 days, and that was $200 just for the pills. And they said there's a good chance that it'll make his sperm viable again. So
which speaks, you know, that's guys that are coming from experience that have gotten, you know, puppies and seen the dog work. You're not over here just breeding dogs just to throw puppies around. You know, that's a different thing, you know.
I don't like to sell pups.
I agree. I mean, in 20 years of me being in hounds, I've raised 2 litters of my own. Breeding's not a thing I do. You know, and you're not out there advertising Brett Vaughn puppies every year. No. You know, these are guys that came to you and wanted something from a dog that they had hunted with or been around some pups. That's not a proven cross, but a you know, it's not bullshit, if that makes sense, Brett.
Yeah. Now I am I'm 64. My days are numbered that I can go out and hunt. And so I was going to breed 2 of my females, my best females, and I'm not going to need all those pups. So I did advertise on Dustin's site, but the reason I did on his site, I don't think I would do it on Facebook, because I don't want to get a bunch of yahoos or whatever, you know. And then you can't advertise pups. You got to just, you know, go in a roundabout way. Say, I'm breeding 2 of my good females, blah, 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 whatever. They should make some good pups. And then, you know, because if you say you're selling dogs, I think they block that you're not allowed to do that.
You got to sell collars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Facebook and Instagram, they'll limit you if you try to sell. I mean, it's anything with dogs, livestock, guns. And that's part of why I created what I did. Not that we need to advertise that on here. That was part of why I did what I did. And there's been good response on there. There's guys that know Brett and respect Brett and want puppies. And that's great. Glad that, that happened. But what I was trying to get at is Brett's not a dog jockey. He's not out here selling puppies left and right. He had guys come to him and say they want this dog collected, and he decided to make a few crosses for himself. But if you make 2 crosses, let's be honest, none of us can keep 20 puppies and try and raise them.
No.
You gotta give some away or sell some or do whatever.
I'm weary of somebody who throws around a name a lot. Allen. You hear Allen a lot.
Well,
Jeff
back in
Allen.
the day, Jeff used to sell a lot of puppies. I mean,
Yeah.
he still does, not as much, but Jeff sold a lot of dogs back in the day, and that was a big name right when I first got into hounds 20 years ago. Everybody had a Jeff Allen dog. Everybody had this. Everybody had that. And yeah, and people throw it around, whether it's 3 generations back after they've bred this crap to this crap to this crap, they're still going to try and throw those names around. And it's hard.
I think one of my dogs about 5 generations back goes to Jeff Allen.
Well, I mean, my very first dog was a Jeff Allen Nance line. It was his Nance lines that he had back in the day, crossed with a Warner Glen dog. Very first dog I ever got was Jeff Allen crossed with Warner Glen, and she was a nice dog. I got lucky with the first hound I ever got, but I wasn't breeding her the next year trying to sell puppies all over the U.S. because I had Jeff Allen and Warner Glen lines.
So we've talked about this 100 times. When does it not become a Jeff Allen dog no more? If you get a Jeff Allen dog and you breed it to a Nance dog, obviously you can throw the name out and say from like you just did. I've had stuff from Jeff Allen before, so obviously there's some blood in that. But when does it stop doing that?
And I think that
when is it a Dustin dog?
You know what? I don't know that. I mean, people can say that they've got a dog from me or bought a dog from me, but I don't sell dogs very often. I went through a rough patch in my life 2 years ago where I had to sell dogs, and I took my 2-year hiatus of not being able to hunt. But even then, when people called and asked what this dog was, it was not my lines. It was, this is where the dog comes from. This is what he is. And I think that's a hard question to answer, Chris. I don't know when it becomes my own line. Maybe I start breeding my dogs that I have now, but honestly,
black and tans.
maybe no, good Lord.
I seen all his black and tans.
Yeah, he had quite a few in all his videos.
Oh, but I mean, maybe in 20 years, if I start breeding dogs now, maybe then I'll claim it's my line. I'm not sure. I don't know the right answer to that.
It's your line.
When they become. Yeah, I mean, and maybe if you take dogs from a whole bunch of different lines and hunt them for 10 years and breed for good things and that, maybe you could call it your line. But honestly, everyone's line started from somewhere else.
And it's good to know where that's from, right? Where did this line come from? Oh, hell. 10 years ago, it was Allen. I on Big Game Houndsman, when I first got into hounds, I knew everything, right? When you do. And I remember putting on there, in 5 years, you'll see a Watson hound. And somebody got in there and said, you don't see a Watson hound for 20 years. And I didn't understand that until 20 years later. You know,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you think, I'll just get some dogs, build them, run them, we'll be good. That's your line. But it's really not ever your line until you start making your own. This is my opinion. You start making your own crosses. So if you take a Van Johnson dog and you take an Allen dog or you take a Derringer dog and you start crossing them and then you bring in, I think then that cross is your cross. But it's still a Derringer dog and an Allen dog, whatever ones you use. You know, Ryan Bailey on here, he just said this. I'm going to tell you, this guy's no joke. He's researching. He sends me all this paperwork, and it's like Chinese to me. So all I ask him is, will it run a lion? But how he trained it, he took the program, he trained it. And I even asked him, I'm like, why would you do this? That's weird to me. I've never done that. But his dogs are 6 weeks old right now. I'm going to brag on him a little bit because he's really proud of this line. But he's also not saying, I have this line and it's going to be the best dog. He's like, I don't know what they're going to turn out like. But
Yeah.
that's where we get into genetics and papers and all that, where I don't care about papers, but those papers show me that there's a better opportunity or a chance that these dogs are going to be better than they have that chance to be a good dog. Period. So
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but also these grade dogs that have been bred good dog to good dog, if you do your research, you can figure out where they come from, what their lines are, and what their ancestors have done per se, you know.
no,
Like,
that's
but
Ryan Bailey. He did that.
yeah, yeah, and it's a little harder to do it with backyard breeding unless you trust the people that you get it from.
Yeah.
Versus papers that are DNA tested or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I think if you find something that works for you, you roll with it, and that's where you go.
Well, and then when you deal with people, and I'm not going to say names on this one, I just heard this story. Guy got a dog from somebody. Dog 6 months old. The dog's made this lion track to the tree. He was proud of it. He calls who he got the dog from and said, "Man, you won't believe it. This dog, 6 months old, made the tree." And this guy said, "You're a dumb idiot. You shouldn't own dogs. You shouldn't even be running that dog at 6 months old." And I'm all, but
Why?
the guy,
Some of them
I don't know how
are
long.
6 months old by themselves.
I don't know the guy very well. I do. And I was going to call Ryan about this because he knows him. But it's like, if the dog, I had 4-month-old Pato and Vaca. We were on a mountain, made a run, and they were 4 months old, and they went with it. And I watched them on the GPS, and I picked them up when they were about, I seen them fall behind at about a mile and a half. And I went over there, called them, and picked them up. But they made that track, you know, and I was at 4 months old, and I didn't see nothing wrong with it. Personally,
This is my opinion, and it could be wrong, but if they have the desire to go, I'm going to let them go. And if they fall out because they get tired, I'm going to walk in, I'm going to pick them up, and I'm going to take them to the tree because they had the desire to go. And if they make a tree at 6 months, good for them. I mean, one of my best dogs right now, this dog is all heart. He made his first lion tree at 5 months old, and he's never missed. I mean, can't say never, but like he never looked back after that. That dog was all business after that.
Yep.
Never missed a step. I mean, he's had a few trees he hasn't made because of things here or there, you know, but if they want to go and they have the desire to go, I'm going to let them go.
Yeah.
Jason Figgins. Go ahead.
You're good.
Jason Figgins hits it on the head right here because a lot of people do this, and I would love to be able to take a dog that I think is pretty and know that that's going to be the dog. But I just had a litter. I got a quarter Catahoula, and a bunch of them got blue eyes. I can get rid of blue-eyed dogs all day long, no matter who it is. I can go to Scottsdale, get rid of blue-eyed dogs. The one I really like, the one that's doing really good, is just a little brown-eyed, kind of the runt. And my wife, she'll probably say, "Oh, you always pick the runt." But would I want a real pretty-eyed, blue-eyed, gorgeous black and tan or Walker, whatever you like? To me, and I had a dog named Halado, and I did not want this dog because he was a shaggy, ugly dog. And my wife ragged me and said, "Run him." And he's probably going to be my number 2 now. And I just didn't like him because of his looks. So you have to grit your teeth.
Well, hell, you got married and you want to look at your looks.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Multiple times, Sonny.
Best
Multiple
comment
times.
of the night, right there. Sonny wins it.
I'm going to agree with you 100%.
I had to throw it out there.
Hell, look at all of us. I think Sonny's the prettiest one on here.
Shit.
Yep. Okay. So
that is an old school phone. Who has that?
It's an old school. That's what. That's
Really?
a phone. That's a phone ring that he can only hear. Us old people have to have that ring. So let's go. What about? So we talked about GPS. We talked about the breeding. Now respect and brotherhood. Like, Do you feel like that? Where are you going? That camaraderie has died a little bit because of competition, tearing each other down, lack of mentorship? Because do
I'll
you
tell
really
you-
need mentorship if you just go buy a dog?
I'll
And
tell
there's
you what.
fewer older houndsmen teaching younger guys because they
I'll
know
tell you
it
what
all.
I'll tell you what the younger guys do that are just gotten into hound hunting and whatnot. They think that they need to kill everything that they catch.
They want to take
And-
all their buddies to
Yes,
do
and
it.
and
Sonny's
all
right.
their buddies got a lion or a bear, and and then I've seen this a lot, and I seen it last year, and I ain't gonna say names. They always say, "Oh, that was a boar." And 90, I mean, I know the guy that was with him. It wasn't a boar, and or a female lion. I mean, that just irks me more than anything on this planet. It really does, because for me and probably all you guys, it's not about killing one. It's about getting to the tree, and yeah, if you got if I got a client, and if it's a boar or a tom, I'm gonna kill it. But if it's a female, I'm not. I'm letting it go. I have enough confidence that I can catch another one. But a lot of these guys get blood, and they get bloodthirsty, I guess. What I'm saying.
Bloodthirsty or money hungry? If it's a
Well, a
young,
lot of them, not all of them are guides.
not all of them are guides.
Yeah.
That's the two main reasons. And it's for clout, right? They can
Yes.
throw it up on
Yes.
Facebook or Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
I caught 8 lions in
But I
January.
think, like,
I caught 8 lions in January and didn't kill not one. Not one. And
those were
it
house
doesn't
cats,
matter.
Sonny.
Huh?
Those were house
my
cats.
question,
Right.
my question, Sonny, my question, and it has nothing to do with anyone on here, but these young houndsmen that are doing this, who brought them up in this world? Did they come into it by themselves with no mentorship, or did they learn from someone?
I think that the couple of them that I know came up with. Well, there's one that did come up with mentorship with his grandpa, but there's another guy that came up to it just by buying dogs because he thought it was cool. And,
know
and
exactly who you're talking
he
about.
does pretty good, but it's just
But he does good. But is he learning anything when they're buying those dogs? Is he learning anything, or is he just going out and catching stuff? Like, I started with 2 puppies, even in the old days. And the guy that got me in the hounds, his wife just passed, and he had 2 hounds, and he was moving around, and I went and picked him up because I gave him 2 of my hounds probably 8 years ago, and they got my line in it from back the line I want that I had, and I went and picked him up, and he helped me, but then I got a divorce, got out of it, and then in the 2000s I got back into it and got 2 puppies, and I was down at the creek. Andy Salazar was probably my only really mentor I had. And I think he hated my guts half the time.
he was a good one though.
I tell you, he's the one that said, let him chase, do this, do that. He would even send dogs for us little ones to run down in the creek to get them gamey, get them, chasing and stuff. Because we had a lot of coons down on the creek. And so I had to kind of, man, I did stupid stuff that I ruined so many dogs. I wish I had a mentor. I really do. Like, someone that was there that I hunted with.
I was fortunate. I had a lot of guys help me, and when I bought my first dogs, someone helped me. And matter of fact, one of my best females, Benny's the one who helped me get her. And so when I would call, I wasn't embarrassed. I would call guys and ask them, what do you think about this, or what about this? And always had, matter of fact, I still talk to them.
Tell them the story about the track. That's the kind of mentor they were back then.
Well,
about the track.
Well, and if you never stop asking questions, you won't learn, right, Brett?
Let me tell you a story.
Exactly.
Let me tell you a story about me one time. So I had a buddy of mine that was a pretty good houndsman. And when I got my own pack of dogs, and the first time I ever caught my first lion by myself, hell, I was under the tree and I called everybody on the planet. I caught one, blah, blah. Well, anyways, when I started catching some, one of the biggest mistakes that I ever made, and then I went back to what do you do? So I was driving down the road and a bear crosses in front of me. I slid my truck sideways and opened the box, and guess what they did?
Nothing.
They went backwards.
Yep.
You know, they went backwards, and I was like, oh, and you know, and that is when we had beat collars. You know, and I couldn't shock them off of that stuff, so I was out of that race forever because I had to, you know, I was 3 hours before I gathered up my dogs. So when I came back and I told him, I said what I did, and he said, you know what you should have done? You should have grabbed your lead dog, got him out, had him by his collar, and put him on the track. And then once he starts going, you take. So that was a lesson that I learned, and I had a mentor that told me what mistake I did, which was great, you know.
You know, I said I didn't have a mentor, but when you told me that story, the guy got me in the hounds. I told him when I started running bears in 2010, I said, yeah, you jumped the buck. He goes, why are you dumping the buck? He said the same thing. Take a dog and get him trailing, and then send the other dogs. One at a time, just send them there, no go. And now I rig, I let him off the box. I let Dirty do his thing, and you know if he has the dog or not, right? And then I'll be honest with you, Elizabeth Bolin, I lost Luke, which was my rig dog and my lion dog, like everything dog. And I bred that dog before I went down and did a lion cancer hunt. And Cece had puppies, and that's where I got Dirty. And if it weren't for Elizabeth letting me rig, she'd put her dogs down, I put my dogs with it. After 4 or 5 times, I rigged, and she says, let them down. And I started letting my dogs down, and we were catching bears. So my dogs were like, oh, this is fun. And then she let her dogs down to kind of keep them in line. But she's also let her dogs down in the beginning. See the bear running. Her dog's chasing it. Dump my box. They run right at him and go backwards. And I'm like, I told her, I'm like, what the hell? She goes, just a hot trail. They're just excited. They'll come back. Sure as shit. They went down, probably heard the dogs and said, whoa, turned around. And so it's good to have somebody to hunt with. If you can find somebody to hunt with. And I've never bought dogs. And most of the people I don't know just didn't buy dogs. Jared Fay, same thing, undercover guy. He was with me last year before, and we got 2 or 3 dogs. I remember him pulling up, and he gets out because I had a bear. Dirty had a bear. And I said, let your dogs go. I was yelling at Jared, let him go, let him go. And he let his dogs go, and we put his dogs on bear. So it's so nice to have somebody that lets you run with them. And I'm pretty open to that.
Well, it is for sure, and I'm interested to hear what. So, Brett, you kind of got cut off earlier. I'd like to hear what you had to say, because I don't think, as long as any of us have been in this, you can never stop learning and never stop asking questions. I have people that ask me questions, and I still call and ask questions. So if you want to, Brett, I'd like to let you finish your story.
And I probably told the story before, but I was hunting with Mike again, and we trailed off into this canyon. We were up on the side of the canyon, just sitting there listening to the hounds, and they would bawl going one way, then they'd bawl coming back the other way. And I mean, I've always had to hunt dry ground, and I always thought I was real patient. I mean, I really thought I was patient, but we sat up there for a long time. And finally, I looked at Mike. I said, what are they doing? Do you think we should go down there and try to help them? And I said, is this enough time or whatever? And he looked at his watch. He said, well, it don't get dark for another 5 or 6 hours. And so we just sat there, and I never will forget, I had a jet boil in my saddlebags with some coffee. And I said, well, you want a cup of coffee? Oh, yeah. And we sat there and sat there and sat there. And finally, those dogs trailed out of that canyon. They caught a little bitty Tom there on the other side of the canyon. But he just sat there the whole time. And I remember asking him one time, I said, what do you think, we're trailing that line backwards or what? And he said, I can't see it and I can't smell it. We just got to let the dogs work. And that, you can hear all kinds of things. And I always heard about, sometimes you got to help those dogs and you got to do that. And sometimes I think you just get in their way.
I think the newer
you're exactly right.
The newer houndsmen are impatient. So if the dog's going somewhere and they don't know about it, they're like, oh, I got to get him back.
Oh yeah. Well,
My
well
crew all day.
they want to catch. They want to catch. They don't want to lose a dog. They you know,
You're worried.
they're invested. I mean, so I gotta watch. So Tuesday I was out hunting. I had ended up at a tree and was hiking out from a tree, and I was talking to Jared on the phone, and I called Jared. I was like, "Hey, I just saw a lion scratch. These dogs are trailing." I said, "It's getting hot." I said, I'm just gonna sit here and listen to them trail, and if it gets too hot, I'm gonna pull them." And I just sat there. It was 11 o'clock. It was warm. It was one of those moments that I was like, it's getting iffy. Should I pull them? Should I not? And sat there, let them work. You know, was on the phone talking to Jared, talking about how the dogs were working that day. And lo and behold, tree number 2 happened that day because I just sat there and let the dogs do what they're supposed to do instead of. I think a lot of people micromanage dogs, and they shouldn't.
I think every one of us here has been guilty of it.
Oh, I'm very guilty of it.
I'm guilty every time I go out. There's so much trash here.
You know, but I just finally I sat on a rock and talked to a couple buddies on the phone and was enjoying listening to them work, kind of watching what they were doing, and you know, it was one of those moments that in my life I realized, hey, dumbass, sometimes you just need to sit here and let them work instead of trying to push for the end result.
Yeah.
If a framer's building your house, you're not going to go in there and tell them how to level a wall. You should know how to level a wall.
Yep.
You know.
Well, that's, you know, and sometimes you got to trust in what you've trained and what you've brought in, and let them do their thing instead of keep your thumb on them.
And talking about mentorship, I was talking about that story, Brett, where I don't remember who you were hunting with, but he gets out and says, "Tell me that's a lion track."
That was
you know what I'm talking about.
That was Orville Fletcher.
Mm-hmm.
I got to hunt with him for a while, and you talk about a grumpy old dude. And we were hunting down on the Ladder Ranch. They let him hunt on the ladder, and we're just driving down the road. And I mean, and he stops. He said, "Get out, see if that's a lion track." Man, and I got out and I looked. I got down on my hands and knees, and I was looking. I was trying to make it into a lion track. He said, "Either it is or it isn't. Get back in the truck."
Yes, sir. It's not. What do they say? You can make a lion track out of anything, but you can't make anything out of a lion track.
This guy was 80 years old, and I was up in where my old camp was up there in the Black Range, and it was rough country. And man, I can't remember what we were up there for. We had his hounds. Oh, they'd lost a collared lion or something up there, I think, and they're going to try to find the collar. And he said, "How far is it to?" He said, "Granite Peak." And I said, "Well," I said, "it's tough going." I said, "I know a cowboy trail that goes up there." I said, "I can take you." So I showed up, and I didn't bring any dogs because first place, I don't really like to mix packs a whole lot. And besides that, I was getting to hunt with Orville Fletcher's dogs. I wanted to see what they did. And and he asked me, first thing he asked me, he's the one who told me, "Don't ever mix packs. Don't mix packs." So I showed up the next morning. He said, "Where's your dogs?" I said, "Mr. Fletcher, you told me, not to mix dogs." "Oh, yeah. And so he rode one of my mules. And this, like I said, this guy's 80 something years old. And we take off for Granite Peak, and we get up there not too far from Granite Peak. And he says, "Well, how far is it to Apache Peak?" And I said, "We're headed towards Granite Peak." He said, "Oh," I said, "Apache Peak." And I said, "Well, shoot, it's way across." I said, "But I think we might be able to cut cross country and get to it." And we took off, and I mean, it got rough and steep, and we're sliding down into those canyons and then up the other side. And we had to get off and lead our mules, and it was terrible. Man, I tell you what, I just smooth, ran out of air. I mean, I was tired. And I stopped on the side of that hill, and I put my hands down on my knees like that, and I was trying to get some oxygen. And this 80-something-year-old man looks at me and he said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I'm tired." Or he said, "What's wrong with you? Are you tired?" I shook my head and I said, "No, but my mule is." And he went just like this. He said, come on, let's go. But he was a heck of a hunter. He was a good houndsman, good lion hunter. But he was grumpy. But he called, after that, he would call me and talk to me and everything. And I guess he liked me. He didn't act like it when I was with him, for sure.
He didn't want you to get comfortable. That's all it was.
No, just pushing me, I guess. And but I went and rescued one of his guys. Took off on foot, and we stopped after we got back to the trucks, and we stopped and sat under a tree, and we were eating lunch, and there was two biologist ladies who came in, and he asked them. He said, "Where's so and so?" And they said, "Oh, he got real tired." They said he laid down back up there, and Orville looked at me. He said, "He has a bad heart." He said, "Do you mind going and looking for him?" And I said, no. We had already unsaddled and everything. So I saddled my mule up, and I took my other mule, saddled up my other mule, and took off up through there. And I found him. And when I found him, he was laying on his back, and his hat was about 4 foot from him. And I thought, oh, man, this dude's dead. And I rode up to him, and I said, hey. He looked up, and I said, are you okay? And he said, yeah. And I said, man, I seen you here. I thought Orville told me you had a bad heart. I thought you were gone. He said, oh, hell. He said, I'd have died and my heart would have kept beating because I got a pacemaker in.
How did you find him?
He was right off the trail. He wasn't very far.
Oh, right. And
I said, you want to ride? Have you ever rode a mule before? He said, no, but I'm going to today. I put him on that mule, and we took off out of there. But Mr. Fletcher, for some reason he liked me, but he was a neat guy to be around.
Oh, those old timers, which actually I'll put a plug in. A lot of these interviews, these guys you've hunted with or talked to, they're all on Interview Stories and Tales on YouTube. And go listen to those, because those old guys telling their story is mesmerizing.
It's really neat to hear how they came up and how they came into lion hunting and their hounds and everything, what they did. That just fascinates me. Always has. When Bruce Kennedy first came out with those tapes, man, I listened to them. There's no telling how many times.
Hey, I got to get going. I got a client calling me.
All right, Sonny.
Thank you guys for letting me.
Good seeing you.
Hey,
thank you guys. You guys have a good night.
Message. Send me another
I
message.
will. Okay, I will for sure. No problem.
Okay.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah. So what about the image of hunting from these newer houndsmen? Reckless posting, disrespectful photos, what you might want to call disrespectful.
I think it's hurting us.
Let me clarify myself when I said how they're too smart. All you got to do is get on Facebook and look at some of the, when somebody talks about something or you hear all these answers of these guys. And that half the time they don't know what they're talking about. But in their mind, they're really, really smart and they know it all. And that bothers me. I can't help it, because most of the time somebody asks a question, I scratch my head, think, well, is that right or wrong or whatever, but they know it all.
And they won't realize they don't.
I think, the hard part with social media, I have a love-hate relationship with it. With my business, it's a love. With personal, it's hate. Yes, people have a right to post whatever they want because it's their feed. They can do what they want. They can. It's their platform until someone takes it away from them. Do I agree with everything that's posted? No. Do I think it hurts us? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But can you tell them they can't do freedom per se lets them, that's what's hard, you know. And some of those guys that post that, honestly, you can try and talk some sense into them all they want, and all they're going to tell you is F you, it's my right, I can post what I want. And then you have the others that you can have a conversation with, and they realize it, and they're like, oh, you're right, I shouldn't post that video, I shouldn't do that. Yes, are your dogs baying up this bear or baying up this lion on a cliff, or working a coon, working a coyote? Is that cool? Is it great to see? Yes, because I love to watch dogs, especially working dogs of any aspect, whether it's cows, bears, lions, coyotes, coons. I love to watch any working dog do what it's doing because I love watching working dogs. But is there certain things that should be made for the public eye and certain things that should be kept between you and your buddies? 100%.
Absolutely. And I wish a lot of them would tell more of the story of, you know, how they started it, how they got to the tree, you know, just the story, instead of just dogs barking at the bottom of a tree and shooting something out. To me, I mean, that's okay. I appreciate it because I understand how hard it is to get it done. But they don't usually share the story.
Yeah, they're after the look at what I caught. They're after the likes. They're after the comments. They're after the look at me part of it instead of,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, the other part. It's hard. It's hard to fight that with the new generation and just the way life is. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, without my business and what I do, I would be a ghost on social media, a complete ghost.
Facebook, Instagram, I mean, that's really what the only thing they're good for is promoting your business.
You're exactly right. That and reconnecting with some friends that
Old friends,
you don't live by, you know. But and that's the hard part. I mean, honestly, you think about it, without Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, I wouldn't know who any of you are.
Exactly.
It makes my job a little easier when they post their stuff on Facebook.
Hey, I got 11,000 followers on TikTok, and I've never been on TikTok.
I mean, you know, and like you say, it's just it's the devil's advocate for lesser words. You know, it can be a great, amazing tool, but it can also be the last nail in the coffin if we let it.
You can use it for good, you can use it for bad.
And Facebook and Instagram, it's just like this, the thumb going through there, looking. I experimented with posting some videos on Facebook, and the what do they call it, statistics? I always have a hard time saying that word. Do you know what the average view duration is on a video on Facebook?
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
3 seconds.
And if it starts out bad,
they're just.
Yep.
Right?
What's that?
If it starts out bad, the first 3 seconds, you got bad taste.
I can't hear Chris. I'm gonna hop out and come back in.
All right.
He's just mouthing weird words.
Well, saying Dustin's kind of gay and ugly.
Heck, my normal videos don't get but like 3-second views.
No, that's...
You mean on YouTube?
Yeah.
We need to talk one of these days, Jeremy.
We need to call Brett and make sure you have 2 hours, and he'll tell you.
Right now, it's just inconsistency. That's what the biggest problem is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But even on YouTube, you have to create something within the first 30 seconds that's going to hook them and make them interested in watching the video.
Yeah.
And that's why I got away from doing hunting videos, because I mean, you look at even some of the guys who do really good, you know, they don't, or have a lot of subscribers. They don't get that many views. I mean, just because it's just not there's not many of us in it. And most of us that are in it don't care about watching somebody else do it. So you've got to appeal to a broader audience.
It's not necessarily that it bothers me. I mean, I use it as a tax write-off, but make $500 off of it a year and write it off. But,
tax write-off. I wish I could use a tax write-off.
Yeah.
You got to make money before you need a tax write-off.
Yeah. I don't make any money, but I've got, a tree patch that pays me that eats up my taxes. So I have to write something off.
And that's why Dustin started the honey hole, because most people that aren't kind of stupid, they're not going to pay to get on something. They want that free thing they can run their mouth. And I think Dustin's honey hole I think it's better than Big Game Houndsman, because he don't really. I'm sure if someone got on there and was stupid, you get them away. But I mean, is that why you kind of started the honey hole?
Oh,
so you can get on there and not worry about it?
Oh, yeah. And if people are being stupid, I'll kick them off. But I mean, all three of you have been on there. Is there any drama? Is there any stupid BS on there?
Yeah, the only problem I have with it is I still hadn't had any takers on selling Chris.
Well,
guess we're just going to have to cull him.
You can't even give me away.
You can't hold that against me, Jeremy. I mean, some things are just unsellable.
Not all of them turn out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, on there, there's no drama, there's no BS, there's no bickering. It's just good information. People are talking about, worming. People are selling puppies. People are talking about what kind of bedding you're at, or how long you'll keep a dog before it doesn't turn out. It's not the normal social media.
It's not Facebook.
It's not a highlight reel,
Mm-hmm.
which is what Facebook and Instagram are, is people's highlight reels. On there,
that's what the new guys like. That's what the young guys like.
Yeah, on there, it's just straight discussion about good topics. And that's what I wanted. I don't want the BS. I don't want the guys, for lack of better words. I don't need the people that post 300 comments on a live like a certain someone that's full of.
Yeah, who is it? This guy, where'd he go? This guy right here?
Yeah, that one. But,
he's entertaining, though.
He is, for sure, but on there, that's not what it's about.
No.
Well, and I think because you have to pay for it, a lot of these young guys, they're not going to pay $5 a month, $12 a month, $20. They're not going to do it. And I think that membership that you have to pay to get on keeps a lot of those people out. If they're not willing to pay for that advice or that kind of exposure, they really don't need to be on there.
No. And there's good guys that have a lot of experience on there that when people ask questions, there's good advice, like Fred has put some good stuff on there. Mike Leonard is on there. He put some good stuff on there. There's some other guys that I've never even heard of that have a wealth of knowledge.
That Mike Leonard, he's got to have a photographic memory. That guy's got a memory that's unbelievable.
Yeah, for sure. And there's just, and that's what I wanted to create. And I wanted to create it in a space that had no advertisements, also no BS, and nothing against like the Big Game Houndsman forum, because it was great. That's where good. I spent a lot of time when I first got into hounds. But now I get on there and it's full of advertisements, and there's no way to vet anyone that's on there because they all can have a weird username.
Yeah.
Whereas what I have done, you have to use your real name because you have to put in a credit card. And everyone that joins, I go down a rabbit hole of figuring out who they are. And if it's someone that does not jive, I ban them.
My username on Big Game Houndsman was Cowboy Vaughn.
Yes. Yep. And I remember it. I mean, 20 years ago, I was on there for sure.
Yep.
I remember Benny's username, and stuff like that. But you can't, on something like that, you can't prove who someone is. Whereas if they have to put in a credit card where I'm at, their name has to match up with their username. And I can get on and look and go down a rabbit hole of, oh, this, because I've done it with 3 people. I've got on and looked at their name and been like, I don't recognize that name. Yeah, I went down a rabbit hole, found out who they were, and I banned them. Nope, not happening.
I'll be dang.
And that's why I went the way that I did versus just making it free for everyone. Because free for everyone, yeah, you're going to have 10,000 people in there, but 1,000 of them are going to be pieces of shit that want nothing to do but take our videos and use them and stir the pot and cause problems. And that's not what I'm about.
Not worth it.
So what's the biggest problem with houndsmanship today then? Jealousy? Competition?
Yeah, that's a big problem.
Jealousy, I think, is probably your biggest one. Jealousy.
Someone's catching more than me. Someone's in my area.
Oh, big time. Jealousy and competition. And I think it varies from species that you're chasing. Lions, man, that's a big one. Bears, not as much.
There's more bears than lions. There's more bears than lions. So you can move 10 miles over and catch another bear. As far as a lion,
it's hard.
How about dry ground hunting versus snow hunting?
Oh, big controversy.
Yeah.
Big. Like, that's poking the bear in the nutsack.
Yep.
They'll scream.
Oh, here's a good one. Lack of responsibility and ethics. That's a good one, Ryan. Because
Hold on.
Responsibility. What's responsibility? When you get on let's take a snow track. You get on a snow track, you see someone already turned dogs loose, you try to cut the road and let them go before they get to that road to catch that line before he does. Responsibility of being ethical at that point, that's what causes fights at the tree. Because you know what he did. And me, I don't like to. I've been on a pond, rigged a bear, and there was 3 elk hunters on it, and I drove by the rig, and a lot of guys were like, "Oh, you should just turn loose," but I'm like, I don't want that fight. I'll go somewhere else. And I caught those guys down the road a couple hours later, and I pulled in and said, "Hey, I seen you. Are you guys hunting?" He goes, "No, we're just scouting." I said, "Oh man, I rigged a bear right there." And they didn't know nothing about hound hunting, but I took 30 minutes out of my day, 40 minutes, and went over how I hound hunt, what we do. And those people understood it. That's responsibility as well. Instead of
just like when we were up there hunting with you, Chris, and the father and son stopped and talked to us. We sat there for 45 minutes.
Yep. And you got to just kind of, the haters. I think that goes with jealousy, the haters.
Well, yeah. Education is a big thing because a lot of people are very ignorant and uneducated about it as far as the general public. But between houndsmen, ethics is a huge thing for sure. Ethics and respect.
Yeah.
I haven't ran into it as much in Arizona as I did in Utah. Because Utah, I definitely ran into a lot more competition per se than I have in Arizona.
Yeah, because you've been out in spots you hadn't seen nobody for days.
I haven't seen another houndsman since October.
I've never ran into another houndsman. But most guys are smarter than to try to hunt where I hunt.
And that's understandable, Brett, for sure.
We know where you hunt.
Did we say anything about being stupid, I mean, that's a bad fault with houndsmen, and I fit into that category.
Brett,
I resemble
that's
that
every
remark also,
houndsman.
Brett.
And anyone that owns dogs has some stupidity in it.
Oh, geez.
That's
but
like when I ran into Joe Hott up there last rendezvous. He's like, "Where are you from?" And I told him, he said, "You got hounds in that box?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." What are they run? I said, cows.
anything that stinks, because
You know,
they
when
ain't
you're
used
at
to
a
this country.
when you're at a gas station and someone says, "Can I pet your dog?" And obviously, unless it's what's his name, Wayne Bisbee's dog that like to try to bite you. But when I've let people pet my dog, you know, and I kind of had a funny joke with that because Andy, if you were petting someone else, he would open up on you loud. He was a loud dog and just boom, and it would
Couldn't
scare the
take it.
crap
He
out of
wanted
people.
to be petted.
Yeah, and people would jump, and I'm like, nah, he just wants you to pet him. But I've been at gas stations for an hour just talking to people. So I think that falls in responsibility to the general public.
I agree, but it's hard. I mean,
I wish
at
Cody
that
would have
same-
jumped on. He
but
just
at
got in
that,
trouble for that.
so at that
What do you
same
get in
point,
trouble for?
I'll let him finish his story and then I'll tell
I'm
you.
sorry.
so I was at a gas station in Moab, Utah, which is a huge tourist, huge hippie town. I was headed bear hunting, and I came out. I had put gas in my truck, went in, bought whatever I needed to at the gas station. I came out, and there was literally someone trying to open my tailgate and let my
Ooh.
dogs out.
That's fight. That's fight shit right there.
She didn't agree with that many dogs being in my truck. And I was like, so you're going to let them out right here in this gas station, right next to a main highway, and watch every one of them dogs get hit.
Yeah.
She just could not comprehend. And I was like,
Damn it, he's breaking up. You're breaking up.
I had one of my hounds get loose the other day. He's an escape artist, and got a phone call because phone number on the collar, and he had gone across the interstate and gone over to a housing area, and I went over there and they gave me the address and everything. I went by there, and the man and his wife and had two little kids out there. One was like 6 years old and the other one was like 8 years old, and they told me, they said, yeah, we come outside, said our kids were outside playing and this strange dog is out there with them. And they said, well, we got scared until we watched him. He said he was just playing with those kids and he was just happy to get away from me for a while.
Yeah.
So Cody was somewhere, and I'm just going to tell a brief story because we'll get him on next week when he's back in town. And they tried to get him for 13 counts of animal cruelty because somebody didn't like his dogs in a box because he ran into the store and it was like 10 minutes and the cops got called. And it wasn't necessarily just the person complaining that was trying to do it. So I don't want to tell the whole story. I'll let him tell it because he'll tell it better. But I tell you what, I think Cody was ready to go to jail for those dogs because of the complainer and the respondent, the law enforcement respondent.
Did the law kind of take the complainer's side?
One of them did. But that's, that's what you have to deal with out there now because that person didn't know what was going on. And what was funny, there was a stray dog sitting over there in the shade, just as hot as those dogs. And he said, what are you going to do about that dog? Well, we'll get him on. He'll tell that story. I'll get him wound up. So what's one thing younger hound hunters need to learn? Hound hunters.
How to listen.
Yeah. Take advice.
Yeah, ask questions and not be so so on those. I of course I'm talking about Facebook again.
Arrogant, belligerent.
Be so anxious to act like they know so much when it really kind of makes them look dumb.
Yeah.
Just
I
sit
take
back
advice.
and, like you said, sit back and listen. Just listen, and then you'll see somebody comment on there that they know what they're talking about, and pay attention to those guys.
I know that I lost both of my mentors pretty early in life, and I wish I'd have listened a lot more back in than what I did. So.
And you talk to Cody, Cody's probably one of the best bobcat hunters around, and if you sit there and listen to him, he'll talk about Reuben Lossman. Reuben just, that Cody learned underneath him.
I've been told before, trust your dogs. I tell you what, I think when you're young, it's hard to trust your dog. I was at a lake and they were going crazy in a rock pile. And I'm like, what are you doing? I don't even see no tracks, nothing. And somebody was with me said, you don't even trust your dogs. Go look. We went in there. It took me 15 minutes. And finally, I seen that coon down in that rock pile. And I would have never thought there was one right there.
Well, that little boy that had helped me when I had my neck surgery, he was just inherited a dog. I'm being invaded by plot dogs, by the way, because this is a plot walker mix, and I got phase plot. That's a heck of an armadillo dog, I'm gonna tell you. She didn't know what to think about them. We're working on it.
I caught 2 coons here about 4 months ago.
There's coons in that country?
Oh yeah.
You must have been in town right there on the river.
Yeah, right there. I've caught 2 lions right there on the river.
That's the only trees I've ever seen out in your country was right there in town on those orchards.
Well, this is public, so this isn't. They didn't climb. Let's put it that way. And they were daytime coons.
Folks think I'm crazy when I take mine out hunting in the daytime.
Okay.
Well, you'd be surprised what you catch in the middle of the day.
Harder to find them little suckers in the tree.
Trust your dog. Oops. I don't want his comment up there. Oh my goodness. What's going on? Dang it. I messed up my stuff. I don't want to listen to this. I don't want to put Bone Pop there. I think these young guys just need to pay attention to the older guys. Sit back and watch and learn a little bit, or find somebody to go with. Don't take your dog. Just go watch somebody work. I've had people say, I want to get in a dog. And I say, well, go run your dog. Go. Oh, shit. No one even said retard.
No one even said retard.
I'm bringing you on to tell your story about, I just told a little bit. This would be a good ending to this when you tell how you were neglecting and being cruel to your animals.
Oh, you want to get me all riled up now,
I told him he's going to get riled up.
I was fixing to go to bed.
Well, we can save it for next week. I gave him a little tidbit of it.
Yeah.
I said, you got in trouble for some neglect. The person reported it was a butthole. The person that showed up to take the report was a butthole. I said, and Cody was ready to go to jail.
Let me tell you something. When a woman cop tells you, I'm fixing to confiscate I'm fixing to impound your dogs, and you look at them and tell them, ma'am, you are not going to impound my dogs. You may call for some help, and then you can say we are going to impound your dogs, but you are not going to impound. They get pissed off. Let me tell you. But I meant every word of it, though, but it got sorted out. But yeah, not only animal cruelty, 13 counts of animal cruelty.
Yeah, they were.
How
after
did you
Cody.
resolve it, Cody? The other officer show up and talked her down, or?
So, yes and no. I mean, I started sending text messages to some people, and then supervisor got there, a big old heavy set guy, and then that lady was being so arrogant that they started arguing with each other, and literally he told me to leave, and as I was leaving, the last thing that I heard him say was, he just proved that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, so you need to shut up. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But she, I mean, she it was done. I mean, she was ready to, I mean, she thought
She
she
was
had
ready to
place
take
in the
Cody's
censor.
dogs and Cody to
Yeah.
jail. And
They were
Cody
going to tow
was
she was going to, I mean, she called to tow my truck.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because my truck was locked and the key was in my pocket. And when my truck's locked, the tailgate's locked. So they couldn't open the tailgate to get the dogs out of the truck.
Lucky them.
Yeah. And no, it was something else, man. And let me tell you something. I wasn't in downtown liberal San Francisco. I was in the fucking country. I mean, I was
Texas.
where this shit shouldn't be happening, in Texas. Yes.
Because
Unbelievable.
she was unknowledgeable of hounds.
They'd really liked it to open my tailgate.
Yeah. I parked.
Would eat them up.
I parked 500 yards from the entrance of Walmart because I parked under the only tree around. So that they were parked in the shade. It was 90 degrees. It wasn't even that hot. And then I had a 5-gallon tank of water just dripping, you know. And that lady told that fat supervisor they ain't got no water. And he goes, well, what's this wet shit dripping all over the place? And she said, well, they don't have a container for the water. And that guy must have been around dogs or show pigs or something. She goes, don't you know what a liquor is? And she was like, what's a liquor? And he goes, they can lick all the water they want. They're fine. What are you doing? You know? I told that lady, I said, ma'am, there's not a person on this planet that cares more about them dogs than me, and I will protect them from you if I have to. Oh, I haven't lost my cool in a long time. And it wasn't like I was a dickhead at first. You know, I tried to be understanding and I tried to pull the ma'am, you don't understand, but these are not pets. These are hunting dogs. And you know, but
You just don't have enough red hair.
yeah. Oh,
Brett would have been in
shit.
jail.
Brett would have been in jail, I guarantee.
Mhm.
But they'd have had to come get him from his house to take him there because he'd have made it home.
I think I told Chris this story. The other day I was driving. I might have told everybody, but I'll tell everybody listening out there. I'm not supposed to tell the story.
Oh, Tammy stepped in.
Oh,
Hey,
Brett, was
Brett,
that a filter? Was that a
Listen,
filter that just got
Listen,
placed?
Don't worry about
She's
that story. Tell us
She
about
was
the story
asleep
about
over there,
your
but she
friend.
woke up to tell me to keep my mouth shut.
What is it? What do they call when you tell the news what they can report and stuff?
Censored.
Yeah,
He got censored.
Brett just got censored, buddy.
Don't tell us your story. Tell us the story about your friend, the other story.
I got to ride 6 hours back home with her, so I better not go against her wishes right now. It'll be a long trip home.
We'll talk about that when you can sneak out to your office and talk to us.
Brett, what do you think?
It's a good story.
Brett, you've never seen my Mexico house, have you?
Oh, that's nice. I've been studying the back of it.
Yeah, let me see if I can turn this camera around. I'll show Brett the.
It's decorated nice.
Anderson said, "Tell us your ship magnet story."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Anderson heard it.
Oh, so that's the one you can't tell.
I got 2 of them.
Oh, dang it, Tammy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the Mexico hunting lodge, Brett. You need to come down and
Jeez Louise.
and go hunting with it.
I could just live there. That's where Saltillo Tile should be. I'm not a
Yeah.
big Saltillo Tile fan, but that's where it should be. It ain't
And
Christmas.
and it's Christmas all year long, buddy.
My farmhouse, when the house I built out there, or I had built, it had Saltillo tile all the way through it.
I only don't like it because my dad made me lay that tile through his whole house.
Yeah,
But it was
that'd be a
cheap.
chore.
It was $1 a piece back in the day.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
You can tell that's a bachelor's house right there.
Yeah.
you don't know yet, but that's Poncho. That's the guy.
My wife hadn't been here yet. So.
She don't watch this either. So you at home, who's going to listen to this on a podcast, but you can go on YouTube and here. You know what? Hang on.
Brett, y'all don't know what these are.
No,
not in Arizona. Never seen one in my life.
When you're
Well,
trying to put these on a cat, you get permission to cheat just a little bit. So when you're trying to put those on a cat with one of them tranquilizing guns, you get to use these cameras. So
I need to get me some of those collars like that then.
and the freaking cows eat my cameras. Look at that.
They chew on those.
Yeah, they chew on the antennas. Sons of bitches.
They don't have nothing else to eat.
But
I
yeah,
would tell
here's
I would tell you to put something on those antennas like salsa or something hot. But I've seen a cow eat a whole thing of insulation and live.
But yeah, that's all of our kit for collar and lines. We're down here trying to
Turn that phone sideways. There you go.
Yeah, there's my Mexican decoration. This mission is here in town, and this mission was built in like 80s, somewhere in there, and the Indians came and killed all the people that they're not all of them that lived in this mission. And the Mexican missionaries left here and moved to San Antonio and built the Alamo.
I'll be dang.
That mission's older than the Alamo. And the old road that Santa Anna took to go kill all the people at the Alamo, this is the river, a picture of the river crossing going across the Rio Grande, the stone crossing. That's the old road.
Wow.
Going across, yeah. Pretty
That's
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, this old man lived here and he died, and this place sat empty for a long time. And then
How old is that house, Cody?
Oh shit, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Can you buy a house pretty reasonable down there, Cody?
Yes, sir. I know. I hunted on a ranch this morning. A guy had a 1,500 hectare ranch with a little old Mexican cowboy house on it. He paid $150,000 American dollars cash for it. And that's 3,000 acres.
Wow.
God. He bought a 3,000 acre ranch for $150,000.
Jeez, I live in the wrong country.
Yeah, no shit.
All from 175.
Yeah.
How's the lion population down there? Pretty good?
It's like that. It's like that. And he had a tag. I'm gonna go back in here and sit down. I'm gonna turn my camera around. He had a tag to kill a lion. We didn't catch one, but trying to narrow one down on a 3,000 acre ranch can be pretty tough. But
that's a cool old house. I love those archways, nice and wide. They got the little arches on them. Beautiful.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna keep showing off. Hold on.
Oh, he's showing off again.
How far from there do you? how far from there do you go hunt, Cody?
Right back there by see that light?
Yeah,
You start hunting right there.
I'll be dang.
Yeah. Right here, where that light is probably a quarter of a mile, 400 or 500 yards. Half a mile past that, 6 years ago, I caught 8 lions.
Do you know what we'd call that in my country?
What?
A bird nest on the ground.
Yeah.
That's a cool little bar, outside bar.
Here's my little Mexican bar with my bar stools, and then I had some kennels built, and they're out. They dropped them off out front, and they're too heavy. I can't get them in here. I need to get some cowboys to come help me.
Are you the only one there, or is everybody just in bed?
Everybody's just in bed, basically. The collaring team's just in bed. There ain't no light. Y'all can't see.
I don't think Cody sleeps.
Not very much.
I was going to show you my dogs, but all you can see is blinking lights. I don't have a flashlight with me. Never mind.
You keep the collars on them down there?
Yeah. Yeah, these new TT25Xs or whatever they are with the extended battery, I can go hunting for 5 days and not have to turn the collars off.
And they have that dynamic tracking where it shuts it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean shuts it down? Tell me more.
So it adjusts the update rate of the collar automatically. So
when they're laid down doing nothing, it kind of shuts down the low battery mode.
Yeah. Yeah. So those collars will last. Those collars will the charge on those collars will last 6 or 7 days.
How much are they, Cody?
$400 a piece.
With
the extended battery.
That Bart George uses those collars on lions and gets them to last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yep.
Huh.
That's a neat place.
Find a damn flashlight.
You're about 4 years ago, before everything happened to me, I was going to go some different places to hunt. Country I really didn't know, and I went ahead and bought me some of the old-fashioned beep collars just because of the battery life.
I got some when I came out to Arizona the first time.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea when you get into country you don't know, you want that battery life.
Elizabeth used to come over here and hunt, and she put those collars on when she got here and didn't take them off until she left. Now, I bought a bunch cheap because Garmin came out and everybody sold all their. Oh, we lost them.
The Mexicans shut him down.
Mexican, they did. He'll be back, or he hit end. You see all the. Oh look, 10 comments are all bone pile.
Imagine that.
Guys, I'm fixing to call it a night. We'll see y'all.
Yep.
Jeremy, is good seeing you.
Jeremy.
You too, Britt.
Oh, and thank you for the Garmin holster. I haven't been able to use it much yet, but I plan on. I carry it in the buggy and hang it on the stick shift there and carry my Garmin there. But
I'm all afraid to use mine because I don't want to ruin it. He keeps telling me.
I made Brett's green, so that way if he drops it, he can find it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. Cody has a Starlink down there. I bet you got too far from it. Is what it was.
Unless he was kidnapped.
He was hijacked.
I don't know. I think he's pretty well known down there. I would love to go down there just to watch him. Here he comes. Catch a jaguar or something down there. Would you lose the internet?
Yeah, I guess I walked too far from Elon Musk's little Starlink over here.
So I told him. I said he has Starlink. I think he got too far away.
Yeah, you can see my dogs. They're pretty tired.
Have you been down there couple days. You've been running both days?
Yeah.
I'm not saying I waited around Wednesday or Thursday and tried to call you because we're supposed to be doing a little bit of work. But
Yeah. I don't know what to
I
tell
knew.
you.
He said, I'll call you Wednesday or Thursday. I didn't hear from him Wednesday. And today I tried to call him.
That's why I was calling you. That's what I'm doing. Were you ready?
I'm ready. No matter me.
You ain't gonna bluff me, huh?
Yeah, I'll stay up.
But,
So
yeah, I tell you what, man, it's amazing how much that little thing right there can change your world.
yeah.
That's what we run our house on, and my office is a Starlink.
Yeah. No, they're nice.
I had the house one, and I had an old mobile one, like when they first came out. That thing was $165 a month, and my house is $120. And then we took a mini so we could watch the fight at the Hound trials, and he got it for $25 more with his house. So when I got back Monday, I called Starlink, and I said, "Hey, what's this?" And I said, "Oh yeah, you have this, so you can do it." So I canceled my one, and then ordered the other one. But
that's exactly what I did, Chris. I had the $165 one a month.
Yeah.
I canceled it, and I got the other one, and it came free with a mini Starlink for $125 a month.
But the thing is if me and Cody are going to do bids tonight, I'm just going to charge it to All Valley.
Put it on your timesheet.
No, they're handy. That little one is handy, and they got a lot of cool mounts. You can put on top of your horse trailer. They make a magnet thing. I've seen people magnet them and stick them on top of their truck.
Yeah.
So
no, I got one on the hood I got one on the dash of my truck, and then I got one I keep for here at the house.
Yeah, my son-in-law just threw it on his dash while he's driving around. So
no,
pretty neat.
I've seen those guys have them on the top of their truck, and they work going down the highway.
Yeah. Yep. And I have the old one where I had to position it. I still have it.
I'm gonna send you a picture, Chris, real quick. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right.
I may be able to.
It's probably gonna be a good picture. Better be a Jaguar, Cody. Damn it.
It ain't no Jaguar.
I have a gun. I want to see a Jaguar. I want to go see a Jaguar in a tree. Everybody says you see a Jaguar in a tree, it's the most amazing thing you see. Tops a lion.
I've been, well, of course, Cody's invited me to go down, and then John Klump invited me to go into Mexico and hunt with him.
I got one picture. Oh, I got another picture. Hang on.
They're coming.
Oh,
today I hunted in some Brett Vaughn type country. A little bit more brush than Brett has, but real dry, kind of foothill mountains kind of stuff. And we was
Did
trailing.
you get anything in there?
We hit one cold cat, man, and they kind of trailed him down the draw a little bit right here. That's not it, by the way, but Chris just said he wanted to see a Jaguar. So
I love seeing the Jaguar. So cool.
What was the date on that?
You look 4/6/24.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's still cool. And the knees. Can you see it?
What is that?
Some Indian paintings today.
Oh, petroglyphs.
You have to zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Dogs trailed by some petroglyphs on the wall. It was pretty cool. See,
that's kind of cool because they're red, and we're always used to the white ones in like Arizona.
All the ones down here are red like that.
We got some red ones here.
Yeah. The guys that was with me, they say, "Man, I wonder what that says." I told them, I said, "I can translate it." And they said, "What's it say? Can you really translate it?" I said, "Yeah, I learned when I was in college." They said, "What's it read?" And I said, "For 1,000 years, homosexuals will stop here and wonder what this sign says on this rock."
That's like that. I drove out to an old archaeology site, and I had heard that there's pottery all over the place and arrowheads and everything. And I went out there. There was an old man out there walking around with a walking stick, and I didn't recognize what was on the ground. And I asked him. I said, "Where's all that pottery supposed to be around here?" And he started pointing and flipping things over, and it was old pottery, had writing all over it. And of course, I was looking around like that, and I seen something. I grabbed it and picked it up. I said, "Is that part of that pottery?" And he said, "No." He said, "That's an old Indian sex stone." And you know what that means, don't you?
An effing rock.
Yeah, just another effing rock.
Just another effing rock. Didn't you talk to somebody about those, or didn't someone comment when you made that video about the petroglyphs saying not to record them, not to touch them, or something? You remember that?
Oh yeah, I get a lot of ding dong comments like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jared
Not to record them, huh? Does that ruin them?
Superstition, but you know what? We don't know what it means. We can guess what they mean, but who's to say it's not just some graffiti like on a wall that says "F you" or something that's
what a lot of it is. A lot of it's saying, "This is mine. You bastards, stay out of here." You know,
or just they might have just left some young braves there and said, "Hey, watch this canyon for anybody coming through," and they got bored and they started doodling.
Yeah,
the ones I go to, they're on a little outcropping, and it's perfect. You sit down, you can see everywhere. You could sit down in there and just scratch on the wall next to you.
Yeah, if you notice where they're at, a lot of them are in places like that.
See, our Indians don't have any rocks to write on, so they just made big mounds.
Yeah.
Shaped them like birds and stuff.
Oh,
they did a lot.
That's in Louisiana, right?
Uh-huh.
If you're up in the sky, you can see them. If Cody hurry up and get his helicopter, he could take us all up there.
Yeah.
After the first of this week, I ain't getting in nothing with a wing on it.
What happened?
No,
my helicopter ain't got no wing on it, so you'll be all right, buddy.
Yeah, I ain't getting in it. Yeah, we worked a pretty bad airplane crash first of the week.
Yeah.
It opened your eyes.
Yeah.
Was that a little one, just like a Cessna or something?
P-51 Mustang.
Oh shit! What happened? They stalled.
Nah, he had a little mishap too close to the ground.
That'll do it. Was he fucking off or?
He was practicing for aerobatics.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
Well, do you remember?
I tell people all the time, man. The flight that I enjoy doing, I want to fly real low and real slow, and these guys get in these aircraft, and they're adrenaline junkies. There's certain personalities that should not ride a crotch rocket motorcycle.
Yeah.
And there's certain personalities that should not fly. And then, the old pilot saying is there's old pilots and there's bold pilots, but there's no old, bold pilots. And
that's fair.
You gotta keep a little respect for it, man. And the minute you do, it don't take much.
You guys remember Richard Russell in 2018? Stole the commercial plane and did a barrel roll in it.
Yes.
Every time I listen to that dude just
and crashed it and killed himself, right?
So he did this big barrel roll in that commercial plane, and the fighter jet guy that was following him said he actually did it, and he only cleared the water by like 10 feet. And then when they were radioing him, and he says, "Man, I really don't think I really didn't think I was going to make it through that." And he just did something great with himself in his life before he crashed that plane right in the ground.
Yeah.
So that thing, I watched that and it gives me chills. The dude's just calm, and just tell the dude gave up.
I get that helicopter, Brett. I'm gonna put old Taco in the front seat, and we're gonna fly up and go hunting with you now.
Come on by.
Yeah. But well, guys, I got a 4
Yep.
a.m. wake up call, so I'm gonna hit the sack.
Sounds
I
good.
do too.
Yeah,
Yep,
Cody,
me
it's good
too.
seeing you.
Brett's
Yeah.
still up even.
I know. I got to go to bed. I got to travel.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks, Cody, showing us that house. That's a pretty cool house.
See y'all.
We'll see you guys.
See you guys.
Onward
Take
and
care.
upward, right, Brett?
Yes, sir. Always.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Later. There you have it. Hound Rendezvous, April or August 21st, 23rd, Young, Arizona, azhhr.com. I'm going to tell you right now again, I think I said last week, I'm pretty sure we're going to have a ballot initiative coming in 27. azwda.com, because it ain't cheap to fight it. Become a member, donate, sponsor, volunteer. We're going to be doing, I'm working with, gosh dang it, I wasn't prepared for this one because it's a youth hunting group. I just talked to the guy today. Oh, look at that. I got to pick up a puppy next week, and I'm going to put them with my puppies, and we're going to see if papers versus mutt, what's going to be good or not. Squirrel camp. If it happens, it's going to be up here in North Arizona. If you're in Arizona and have a squirrel dog as good as my stinker, that ain't stupid, like Bone Pile's dog that catches squirrel or mice and snakes and crickets and chases butterflies, get a hold of me. Just azwda at what is it? azwda at outlook.com. We have a raffle going on. There's like 11 spots left. Your choice of a 300, a XL, 3 TT25s, or some cash, $1,000 cash. $50 a spot. There's only 40 spots. Jeremy actually won, right? Jeremy won one of those ones. Another guy won the last one we did back east. I hope he got his stuff. He asked me where it was. Dustin shipped it off. Other than that, there's a raffle. Go to azwda.com. Click on the raffle page or the big picture. It says raffle. Other than that, if anybody wants to help out with the Arizona Working Dog Alliance and get ready for next year, put together a plan, let me know. azwda@outlook.com. Other than that, thanks guys for showing up, and remember, keep your powder dry and stay safe out there.